Hi, welcome to the Jenn Hayward Show. I'm Jenn Hayward, and today we have a delightful day. We have adventure seeker Sarah Stewart will be on. We will get to what's going on with my hair, and we missed you yesterday. We were all ready to talk about love, and then a press conference happened, and they declared a state of emergency, and I got high. So now you are up to date. That's nice. Someone loved it. If you guys are seeking the love, loving the seeks, hi. Oh, look at this. When you're watching it from the right venue, I can do that. Hello to Jody Faye Smith. If anyone who's watching wants to help us out, you can send press share right now. Say, oh my God, Jenn Hayward, Sarah Stewart, and a surprise guest all in the same place. Are you kidding me? So Sarah will be out here in about 10 minutes, and in Sarah time, that could mean 15 minutes, but she will be here. Until then, let's chat. It was Love Day. I don't know what to talk about. I don't know if I should be talking about silly things about, Valentine's Day, or if I should talk about the end of the world. Like, I don't know what to talk about. There was a press conference yesterday, and after that press conference, I was like, I don't know what to do with myself. Like, maybe I should join a militia or something. Like, it just But I will talk about Valentine's Day in a moment. But first, I do want to talk about perceptions and connections. I want to I don't know if it's give a lesson in it or what I need to do. But I was thinking yesterday was Valentine's Day. And as most people who follow me know, I used to own a courier company until this year. And so I was always busy on Valentine's Day. Yesterday, had my feet up, didn't give it much thought, and I thought about it, and I said, isn't it different how your role, the time of year, whatever it is, can change your perception on things? And it got me thinking, not just Valentine's Day, like Christmas, all holidays. When you were a kid, it was lots of fun. You got to get stuff, eat stuff, and go away. And then as you get older, you're like, I got to buy stuff. I got to do stuff. And I don't know, if someone had told me a few years ago, we moved to Ottawa in 2007, if anyone had told me that I would, one, get bored of it, and two, get angry, over people trying to overcome our city or whatever, I was so in awe, prairie girl gone wild kind of thing in the big city. And that ended. But I'm not going to talk about the occupation anymore because it makes me angry, but I am going to talk about love. So we did want to talk yesterday about love and give some love advice. We actually had a puppet who is coming to give us love advice, but he's not here. So I'm bringing our very special guest while we wait for Miss Sarah, who's talking, by the way, about ghost adventures with ghosts. But until then, here's Joshua James Hayward on his phone.
Oh, hey.
Hey.
Sorry, I was scrolling the grams.
I won't lie to you. The day Sarah's on, we get almost double our viewers. We got 8 people. So that's awesome. No, we just went down to 5 people. No, Sarah's not here. I'm leaving.
Ghost hunting is much more interesting than
it is. But I think, we've been together. Our anniversary is this weekend, and it'll be our 22nd wedding anniversary. Congratulations to each other. And last night was pretty romantic. We were a little high because.
Well, you were.
You weren't? No, you were too a little. No? Okay,
No,
I was. Anyway.
I did not partake. Or did I?
I don't know.
I don't remember.
Welcome to your 40s, kids. But
I turned 50 this year.
I know. Oh, yeah. So Josh comes in and he's very, very, hey, I want to make love to you. And I'm like, okay, but let's first talk about, I have 2 zits on my thigh that are bugging me. And that went on for an hour. And he's like, I know. He's like, do you want to? Yeah, it's my butt. He's like, do you want to still talk about your zits or do you want to make love? And I'm like, let me tell you more. I think it's an ingrown hair. And that was our evening. Yay, because Valentine's Day still means nothing to us. Wait, I have a message potentially from Sarah. Oh, for God's sakes, it was. She's like, what's the link? I'm like, I sent it to you, but that's okay. I'm sending it now again. Do. All right. So anything to say, Josh, while we're waiting for Adventure Seeker Sarah, about life and love and how great your wife is?
All of those things and more.
And more.
And
And
more.
there you have it, everyone. There you have it. All right. I have a good authority. Sarah Jean Stewart is on her way in. We have, I won't lie to you, it's a hard day for me today and for Josh as well. It's the anniversary of our foster child's death. She wasn't our foster child when she passed. She was turning 16. We had her from age 2 to 4. And it's a kind of like a numb thing because you go through, and I was thinking about anyone who's had any loss in the last 2 years. It's like you're going through your grief, but you're going through it when the world is going through a crisis, and it just feels surreal. With that, I don't know, Josh, how do you feel? Like surreal or?
Well, the last 2 years have been kind of surreal, to be honest. Sometimes when you think about it, it's like, wow. I mean, yeah, that, for instance, we didn't find out about it till months later, unfortunately, and that was hard. And but I mean, things like, well, the little guy's birthday, he'll be 2 years old in less than a month now. And in some ways, it's like it feels like yesterday, but in other ways, it feels like a freaking lifetime ago.
Well, it is. And the little guy he's talking about is Adventure Seeker Sarah's little guy, Lyndon. He's our favorite little guy. Sorry if you have another little guy, but Lyndon's a little guy. And he has really grown into a remarkable, young, well-adjusted child. He's only 23 months. And it is amazing to see. I got to babysit him, and it was like, better than any date. We'll just tell stories about Linda. His big thing is he wants to do fun things, but he doesn't want to stop. And so he doesn't say no, like another toddler would say no. He just negotiates. One more. Yeah, and then the one more becomes another one more. That becomes another one more, and you're like, "Hey, kid, nope, we're not going to stop." And he's like, "One more, Auntie," and he knows how to. Or his words like, "Uncle Josh," and so he had fun, but he definitely rules the roost over there. He's so smart. It's like for almost 2 years.
How could he not? He's like the cutest little dude in the world.
Oh, he's so cute. Like,
well, except for maybe your puppy.
Well, my puppy is a dog and Linda, but honestly, they're pretty much on equal footing. I'm obsessed with my dog. I really am. So I know people are stopping in and going, "Where's Sarah? Don't worry, she's on her way. Chill." Yeah, life is complicated for lots of people right now. So I think that's the best way to say it. So we feel it today, but we're getting away this weekend for our anniversary, which will be nice. And this time, I promise to only talk about the zit on my butt for half an hour. No, I'm kidding. I'm going to totally do it the entire trip.
Of course.
Because that's what marriage is about, baby. So you've been working on that beer thing, and this Thursday you're going to be bringing a new beer, right?
Pointing towards your door. We could touch fingers to the door.
We're live, sweetie, right? Yeah, we are. Oh, there's his finger. You can see his finger in the back. It's our own puppet. Everyone, please welcome Adventure Seeker Sarah. How are you? No, I like this better. Hey, she's like, what am I walking into? The Haywards are again, aren't they? We talked about zits on the button.
No. You talked about zits.
And Jody Faye-Smith has already said howdy. So if everyone, if you're here to see Sarah, she's here now. Are you going to leave, Josh, or stay? He's going. He was like, let me out of here. It's just the girls. Hello, welcome, Adventure. Hello. Let me get the right banner up for you. But first of all, you probably missed it. We were talking about your son and how amazing he is. When is his actual birthday? The 4th or the 2nd or the 8th?
The 4th. Yeah.
I knew it was one of those.
So close.
I just can't believe it. Like, that's what Josh was saying. It was like his birth in the beginning of COVID were kind of like the same time for us. So
Yep.
we had just got back at like a day after he was born. And then we're like,
Mhm.
hey, little baby. I didn't get to hold him because I'm afraid of like dropping them. So I wait until like they can shake my hand. And then I'm like, yeah, we'll play now. Which, you know, you can see I'll play all the time and I'll play rough. But, hi, Sarah. How are you?
Hello.
So
I am
what
good.
adventures brings you here this week?
Well, this is a really great example of sort of how my adventures range across the board of adventures. So everything is an adventure, like I say. But this weekend, I was out on my first paranormal investigation. So I was out
Come on,
ghost
call it
hunting.
what it is. Oh, paranormal.
I
She's a
said ghost hunting afterwards. You just interrupted me.
ghost. Who you gonna call?
Yeah,
Oh,
so
wait.
that's what I was up to this weekend. We went to Lorignal Jail, which is the oldest jail in Ontario.
Okay.
Yeah, so it was pretty cool. Like, I mean, of course, I am pretty logical and skeptical, which I
Yeah.
think is probably a good trait to have if you're on a paranormal investigation team.
Absolutely.
But even without any of the possibility of anything paranormal, going to the oldest jail in Canada, that's already really cool for me. So
It's a pretty cool experience. And
Yeah.
okay, so walk us through what you needed to do.
So basically, when we first got there, this was a training exercise, right? Because there were a lot of new people on the team. This is a brand new team that's been formed with some people who were previously on other paranormal investigation teams, some people who are brand new. So it was really a training exercise that also, happened to be at an allegedly haunted location. Apparently, there's like a tagline in the local ghost hunting community that this particular jail just never fails. Like, there's always something that's going to
There's
happen.
always a ghost. Well, you showed me some of the photos and some of the in great detail, but you brought out like this big thing with all the pictures. So tell us about that. So
The big thing with all the pictures.
yeah, come on. I'm describing.
Oh, the DVR, the screen. So we were
Yes.
live streaming. Yes, of course. But before we even do any of that, like we have the tech side. So you're setting up all these cameras. Our tech lead has like these big microphones everywhere that are ultra sensitive and parabolic mics, and like it's insane. I want to know everything about what he does, but I do not yet know everything about what he does because there's so much and it's so cool. So there's that side of things. We've got our live stream set up so that even when we're not in a particular room, somebody can be watching and see if they see anything interesting that we might want to look at. But then also, like when we first got there, we went on a walkthrough, Taylor and I, because neither of us had ever been there. Taylor's the lead of our team. Okay. And we walked through the whole entire space with Elliot, who's from another paranormal investigation team. He's been there several times. So he sort of took us through and showed us all the places that we might want to investigate in. And, again, I like history. So this was all just the walkthrough itself was interesting enough for me to make it worth driving out there. Right.
Yeah, exactly.
But then we were walking through and then we walked into this one room and I went, whoa, this feels weird. Mm-hmm. And it was like, I don't know how to describe it. It was like this really, tingly feeling. So of course, me being like kind of scientific minded, I was like, I bet there must be like a lot of electrical wiring in here. Like there has to be some explanation for this. Like it feels completely different than everywhere else. So I really want to get the meters up here to see what the electrical activity in here is like. Because of course that's the most logical explanation. So that's fine and dandy. We went about our business, finished our walkthrough, and then the other new investigator who had never been on an investigation before got there and I asked to go show them around. So we went through and I just walked into every place and then I took them to that room. And they are the most skeptical person I've ever met, perhaps. And they walked in and went, whoa, this room feels weird. Yeah. So that was validating for me. I was like, okay, so this isn't something that I just made up. That's good. And I said, yeah, I thought the same thing. So I want to get the EMF meter up here and see what the readings are, right? Because I figured, something electrical, you get that tingly feeling, or at least for me, that's what it was. So we did end up going and doing all of our base readings throughout all the different places, just, to check for things like if there's drafts, if the EMF is particularly high, like you want a base level of what you're looking for. So if something changes, right? And the EMF in there was really no different than anywhere else. So no explanation on that front. But we did later have some interesting interactions in there. So I suggested that we might want to, as we told our ghost stories on our live stream, we kind of, because it was the first time we'd all met, we sat down and sort of talked about different experiences we'd had throughout time and why we were there and that sort of thing. And as we were doing that, there's this creepy old bassinet, like it's a museum as well, right? So someone donated this bassinet. And as we're telling our ghost stories, the skeptical one says, guys, the bassinet is rocking. And it was just rocking away on its own. So that was kind of interesting. You know, there's always something to explain away these things.
Why was there a bassinet in the jail?
It's a museum. So I guess someone
Okay.
donated it to them. And it was just sitting in one of the cell blocks because they use that area for storage.
That would
Basically.
be very spooky if that just
Yeah.
started happening.
Sure, but I mean, it wasn't drafty because we checked, but I mean, you could find ways to explain that away, right?
Yeah.
But as the night went on, there were other things that maybe there are less ways to explain it away. So would you like to hear about some of the interesting things that happened throughout the night there?
Yes, we would. Yeah.
So there was one room that we went into. It was the nurses' quarters, but then before that, it was where the gallows was. And there's this device. Now, although I'm now on a paranormal investigation team, I've never really watched any ghost hunting shows. So I wasn't really, I know there are a million of them, but I wasn't really familiar with any of the equipment or anything. And so I'm going to assume that nobody else is either. So I'll tell you what we were using. So there's this one device that scans through radio frequencies rapidly. So you're going through several frequencies a second. So you're never going to be able to hear any, words or phrases from one particular frequency. The theory being that if you hear words or phrases, that's something else trying to communicate, right? But that's not exactly, ultra scientific, because we've got power of suggestion. So if I have this box sitting here and I ask, what's your name? No matter what comes out of that, my brain's going to turn it into a name, because that's what we do. We look for meaning in things. So to get around this, how we were using it is someone was wearing noise canceling headphones plugged into the box. So they're hearing whatever's coming out of there. And other people are asking the questions in the room. Now, I tried it and I have super hearing. You cannot hear anything else that's going on in the room. So whoever has these headphones on, you don't know when, if, or what.
So you're the ghost listener, and then everyone else is
exactly.
To the
so
ghost.
And then if whoever's wearing the headphones, whenever you hear anything, whatever it is, you just say it out loud. And if that happens to fit into the conversation or what's just been asked, well, that's kind of compelling, right? Yeah. So we started with, I suggested, we did it out loud for a little while just so everybody could hear it. And then as we were going into like headphone mode, I suggested that the very incredibly skeptical one of the group, who was brand new and had never had any paranormal experiences, should put the headphones on first, because then you're going to get the most unbiased account of what's going on, right? And so we did this for a couple of moments, asked a few questions, and they were hearing something, but were having trouble sort of like catching what was going on because it's very loud and it happens very fast. And then one of the investigators asked, because we're in a jail, right? And had determined that this was a male voice that we were speaking to, said, when's the last time you saw a female? And then there was this like crazy guttural moan. And the person with the headphones threw them off. Like we could hear it even through the headphones. It was so loud. The person with the headphones threw them off and was like, nope, never mind. I don't like this. I don't want to do this anymore. Like, I do not want this job. So
it was just hearing the ghost. So the ghost was like, yeah, I've heard it. I've seen a chick before.
And that wasn't the weirdest part. So that was just the beginning of that room, the very beginning. So as we went along, a few more interesting things, but one person in particular was wearing the headphones. And again, I'm going to stress, I put them on. You cannot hear anything else that's going on in the room. So we started asking questions and getting like a back and forth response. So we're having a conversation. And then someone asked a question and we didn't get an answer. So I thought, well, maybe I'll ask a question that's a little bit provoking. And I asked, so are you innocent or guilty?
Yeah.
And as soon as I asked that, our ring light that we were using to light the room went out. Everything went pitch black. And you can listen to the recording. I'm not going to say what was heard on the recording because I don't want to bias anyone. But it got interesting. So that was kind of a fun moment. And there were a few other things that had happened. I sang for a ghost for like 5 minutes.
Happy birthday or what?
No, it's interesting though. Even with all of that, I'm never willing to just, jump to crying ghost, right? Like that's not to say that I believe that there's something we can't explain. There are lots of things that we can't explain in the world. But whether, it's a ghost, so to speak, residual energy, God, something from another dimension, or just our minds playing tricks on us, who knows? Like there's a lot going on in our brains even that we don't know about. So I guess that's kind of the point of this whole thing, right? Is to investigate enough that we can form some sort of hypothesis on what exactly is going on.
And so you're like getting married to the ghost, right? And they follow you home. They're in your kids are like, I'm going to be possessed. We'll just take a turn. This is ghost Betty. She's going to be in Dahlia, and then she's.
So it was a fun experience. I mean, again, I would have enjoyed it just for the, meeting a bunch of interesting people and being in a historic location. And I did think that I would spend most of my time there just sitting around doing absolutely nothing. And I was okay
you
with
said
that.
You went till 6 a.m., right? And it was
I got home at 6. So we wrapped up there about 4 o'clock. And it was pretty interesting the whole time. So I think we're eventually going to cut together some of that footage into a YouTube episode so that each, I know that's a lot of work, but each place that we investigate so that people can see a little bit of sort of what we saw while we were there. We had lots of cameras.
I think it's neat because like I get a firsthand view, talking to you and like, here is my 1,000 pictures and all the rest, which is great. But a lot of people don't have access to every ghost hunter. So I think it's really neat to have that up. And I think it's very interesting. Yeah. Now, no, I was going to say, as an adventure seeker, what about the ghost intrigues you the most?
Well, what intrigues me about it, or, ghosts or any claims of paranormal, is that it's something that's less explored. So something that we can't explain. So that in itself is an adventure. Like there were people there who were scared, and that makes sense depending on what you believe. But for me, it's just another adventure. It's just an opportunity to discover something. And
you just want to connect.
It is. It's just another way to connect. Yes, I'm kind of having a conversation with something here. I don't know who or what, or what exactly is going on.
I think the viewers need to understand she has conversations with flies who land on her hand. I do. And then she's like, I thought she was sweet talking me one night. I was like, no, she's talking to the fly. You were just like, oh, hello little one, and la 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 la, and then hey Jen at a barbecue or something we were at. Yeah, it was funny.
So yes, any opportunity to connect and learn more is always something I'm excited about, and this is just one more slightly strange avenue to do that. But I will say, if you go to either my Adventure Seeker Sarah page on Facebook or Class A Paranormal on Facebook, we live stream to both locations and some of our personal pages. Go on to the live stream and go to 3:28, so like 3 hours and 28 minutes, and listen for a couple of minutes and just see what you hear and let us know.
I love that. 3:28 is not minutes. Go to hour 3. That's when the excitement happens. I love it. I love it. And what's next for you, adventure? Well, you're coming next week, but any adventures? Yeah. I mean, every day is an adventure with your kids and, life.
It is. So where are we now? It is mid-February. So we are in the Niagara region in March, although we're going to do some local things here. There's lots of interesting things in the Ottawa area in the wintertime. So some winter adventures in Ottawa is potentially what I'll be talking about next. But then also we're going to the Niagara area. We're doing some adventure scavenger hunts, so that should be fun.
That'll be fun.
As long as nothing else changes, off to Nova Scotia again in March.
Excellent.
We're looking at you don't even know this yet, but we're looking at possibly a Paris trip in August.
Oh, very nice.
And I'm also planning a trip to Whitehorse, I think.
That is nice. I've never been to Whitehorse. It's the only place I haven't been.
So lots of things coming down the line. I'll always be somewhere doing something new. So never many things to talk about.
Well, and to follow Sarah, you just have to go to Adventure Seeker Sarah, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, not Twitter though, right?
I probably should be on Twitter, but I'm
Twitter's
not.
kind of lame. So all those things. And she's here every Tuesday at 5 o'clock. So I want to thank Sarah. And that's our show for today. And we will see you tomorrow for Game Show Wednesday. Thanks.
Bye bye.
And